I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage. Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Maconi Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flags Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Maconi Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Maconi Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MaconiSetupShop.com and learn why Maconi Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois, where tonight the stars and cars of the iRacing Indy Pro 2000 Championship will get ready to take on the mean streets of the Windy City. My name is Chris Graham with the National Racing Network. It is a pleasure to have you joining us here this evening. One of the newest venues that doesn't exist in the real world yet. 2.1 miles in length, running right along Lake Michigan, Michigan Avenue in Chicago. Joining me, as always, in the booth for these races, Sebastian Kinder and James Watson. Tell you what here, boys, this one it's a little bit of Long Beach, it's a little bit of Monaco, maybe even a little bit of Martinsville thrown in there. We could be in for a pretty interesting show here.
Welcome to your doom. One mistake and you're in the wall. And that's it. That's how street courses are. You little kid. And if you miss it, well, you're going to cry to your mommy and... Okay, I'm going to stop.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Anyways, man, I love the track. Looking at the track map, it does not do it justice at all. But this track is a pain in the butt in the best way possible. All the corners are completely unique. And then it's also, it feels like it's a lot more narrow than most of the other street courses because they have a little access road in between the walls that you can go down. But it always catches you out because you're having to second guess yourself as you're mid corner. Like, am I aiming for where I need to aim, or am I gonna put myself down one of these access roads? And the little bridge that you go over, this is just a blast of a track. And seeing these cars go around it, it's gonna be insane.
It's something that we're already seeing here, Seb, is you've got to hustle this car around this racetrack. You're playing with a lot of oversteer, and it really is about car control here tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I've run actually a few laps around this track yesterday, and to be fair, it doesn't feel that bad. Like, you have to kind of will it, but it feels really fun. It's actually pretty good in those low power, low downforce single seaters. Like, you talked about Monaco, you talk about Long Beach. I'm going to throw another curveball, a famous F3 track that all the stars of the F3 championships are going to at the end of each year is the Macau Grand Prix. That has some Macau feeling to this track.
Yes, I would agree with that. Macau is one of those places that is actually even tighter than this, I think. It really forces you into you can't make a mistake. And as wide as this racetrack can be, it sort of is narrow in some respects because you're kind of constantly fighting the race car, it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, especially those guys, they have some custom setups, but like I've been running with the iRacing sets, and that's a very loose setup. Like the rear is just so snappy and all that, and not really fun to drive.
Everett Paddock is your quick timer so far. Mike Holler, Chris Janke, Andy Corsa, Noah Carmichael, your top 5, but we're following along with Greg Seitz, who, quite frankly, has made this series his own personal playground this season. And let's get you the weather conditions here tonight, courtesy of our friends at the Weather Center. Offensively accurate weather information for eastern Pennsylvania. 76-degree ambient temperature. Winds out of the east at about 8 miles an hour. Cloudy skies. Track temp only 78 degrees. That could come into play here in terms of trying to get enough heat in the tires to really make them grippy.
Yes. Oh, and Chris, I'm just cutting in. Like, I'm seeing through the chat of the session, Everett Paddock has disconnected connection issues for him.
Wow, that would be huge. Everett Paddock, quick lap time, 1 minute 19.788 seconds. Greg Seitz working his first lap. First lap actually did not score. So this will be interesting to see if lap number 2 is going to get on the board here for Greg Seitz. Quickest through Sector 1.
Okay, so I'm going to throw an objection there, Chris. He is still in his first lap.
Okay. Seeing Zach Evans checking in the comments, did Randy Savage just possess Seb? Yes, potentially, yes. So talking about Greg Seitz making this series his personal playground. Greg Seitz is your points leader at 1,211 markers. 7 weeks have counted, 22 starts, 16 wins, 20 top 5s, 15 pole awards to go along with it. He's led 426 of a possible 686 laps. Greg W. Seitz is second in points. 7 weeks counted, 44 starts, 40 wins, 44 top 5s, 38 pole positions, leading 918 of a possible 1,148 laps. It is just disturbing what Greg Seitz is doing to these fields.
Yeah, but Greg Seitz isn't even being Greg Seitz. What a scrub.
Yeah, he's not up by much here in this qualification session. Call the gap 0.02 seconds. Even a little tighter than that.
It's so tight. And an update on Everett Paddock, he's back into the session.
Seitz makes his way around. Purple first 2 sectors. See what he's going to do here through Sector 3. And I would tend to think he's probably going to continue setting a ridiculously quick lap here. However, guys, the run down to turn 1 is going to be interesting because Seitz will have the inside line, but this is a hard left-hand corner that you really can push if you're Everett Paddock. And there's the number we expected to see. 1 minute 19.49 seconds, almost a full third of a second ahead of Everett Paddock as Seitz wraps up his qualification run here. And just waiting on Shane Holstein to see if he's going to turn a lap here, but he doesn't have a whole lot of time. There's the machine of Holstein sitting at the end of pit road. So we'll pick back up here on Greg Seitz.
Wow, like, I think that's the first time we have such a huge gap between times. Of course, this is a very small session. Only 11 people are in there, and there are some much lower iRating than we usually see in this series. Lowest iRating, hold on to your butts. It's Shane Holstein. Okay, so I'm not shaming. Like, he is at 696 road iRating. I am not joking.
Yeah, well, and you look at Greg Seitz, and actually here we'll show you the licenses. Here, actually, well, we'll do that one in just a second once we get past the starting grid here anyway. This is still a very, very deep field of race cars. As we're going to get ready to pick up the field here and take a look at tonight's 11-car starting grid. Greg Seitz and Everett Paddock will make up the front row. 1 minute 19.493 seconds, the quick time for Seitz. Chris Janke, Mike Holler will occupy row number 2. Holler almost a full second back of the lap that Seitz turned, and 2.5 seconds back is Mike Coates, who will line up in the 5th position inside of row number 3. Andy Corson is outside in car number 5. Noah Carmichael and Lyle Christensen on row number 4. Row 5 will have William Midget and John Dinkle. Dinkle did not get a lap turned, neither did Shane Holstein. Wonder if we're not possibly seeing some strategy play out here, gentlemen, because Greg Seitz, now Greg Seitz is popping in on the grid here. I was going to say, are we going to see these guys start from the pits and try to avoid any potential first lap carnage? It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Waiting on William Midget to get into the grid here. He may elect to start from the pit road, but if you're Greg Seitz and Everett Paddock, I mean, even the pace lap can be a little bit potentially contentious here, guys, because this is a full pace lap. You've got to do a full lap behind the iRacing safety car here.
Reminds me of last week at Ezra Sonoma. I was just so uncomfortable that day, and it's that time where you have to get into voice chat and get the other people working with you. Just like, okay, let's go single file through the whole laps, pacing, and then at the end, you're doing double files because, yeah, this is not ideal.
So field now getting rolling behind the iRacing safety car will be Greg Seitz, your pole sitter here. And we talked about the license details on these drivers. How about 7,000 on the iRating for Greg Seitz? Everett Paddock, a 4.9 license and a 5,000 iRating. As much as we might have a couple of lesser experienced drivers in this field, guys, this is still going to be a pretty deep field. I mean, you're talking 2157 for an average iRating. It really balances out towards the mid-pack. Zach Evans checking in saying, when I was running this track in the ARCA car, I joked that it's a shame how beautiful iRacing made this track. Because you have to be so focused every corner of every lap, you never notice it while racing. I will say the place is absolutely spectacular. I mean, it is gorgeous how this facility looks, and I think it could be an interesting real-world racetrack. We'll have to see, but definitely going to be interesting here as we're going to get ready to fire these cars up here in another half lap or so.
Racing Arcas there? Why?
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
They're heading into one of the fastest portions of this race course, and it is completely twisty the whole way around here. Really arcing your way through this kind of center section of the race course. And there's one of those spots that you talked about, guys, where you can hit the runoff, there's a lot of places you can very easily make the mistake here.
I love that corner. This course is a blast when you have old sports cars on it. Like our colleague Patrick Byrne put up a special race with older cars, and it was a blast. Oh wow, Greg really went going.
Yeah, Greg Seitz out early on the jump here. He wants no part of the lap 1, turn 1 shenanigans that are coming here. Everett Paddock going to be through cleanly. One car bouncing it off the outside wall. That may have been Noah Carmichael. Looks like everybody's going to get through the first couple of corners cleanly here. And I tell you what, guys, now this is when you really have to settle in. There's not a lot of time to get yourself ready to go here.
Yeah, indeed, and actually, I'm actually quite surprised they made it through this far without crashing. That is pretty impressive.
Noah Carmichael having a little bit of an issue there, allowing Michael Coates to get by. Closest fight on the racetrack. Well, I mean, it's really going to be this one here. John Dinkle getting in on Andy Corsa.
Oh, I heard you crash.
Trouble on the racetrack. One
Michael
car
Coates
nosed into the barrier. William Midget, Mike Coach, Shane Holstein also having issues here. Take a look at the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. See what happened here to Midget and Coates. A little bit of a lockup. Midget comes to a stop. Nice job missing the barriers there. Same thing can't be said for Michael Coates, however. Just overcooks it on corner entry, noses into the tire barrier. Also trouble on the racetrack for Shane Holstein. He has to come to a stop.
Wow.
So Noah Carmichael, Michael Coates, both in the pit lane. At the front of the field, Greg Seitz with a 1.2 second lead over Everett Paddock. Chris Janke, Mike Holler holding in there as well. I mean, fairly tight for this early in the race.
I mean, for the usual suspects, like, they're pretty tight.
Working lap number 2 of 22 around the Chicago street course. And this is one of those races that you almost wish it was a little bit longer. You had a little bit of a fuel issue or something where the cars would have to make the strategy plays, because this really is a racetrack where you can settle in, you can save a lot of fuel, and you can really make some different strategies come into play. This race is a 22-lap sprint that is all about ultimate pace.
And it's also about ultimate not putting it in the freaking tire barrier.
Oh, yeah. Oh, James, like, now we're through all those tight races we did in Ezra, like Long Beach, Montreal, Sonoma. Like, those 3 races that were so stressful. Like,
Yeah, we're just putting around was strategy to go and got both of us very good finishes. Except last week for me, because I air milled it into the wall trying to be the hero at my hometown race.
So picking up Mike Holler here, he is the highest ranked driver in points and entered in this race behind Greg Seitz. Holler currently sitting 7th in the point standings. All 7 of his starts taking place here on our broadcasted events. 4 top 5s. No race wins, no poles, but that's going to be kind of expected when you're running against Greg Seitz in these every week. Everett Paddock currently sits 9th in the overall point standings. 21 starts in 5 weeks, 15 wins, 20 top 5s, 15 poles. It's been a good season. Everett's just not getting it done against the big strength of field that Greg Seitz has been able to.
And it's where you know you have to be strong. Like the mark of a great driver is when like he's in a stacked field. Like he has to overcome it. Like no disrespect to Everett Paddock, like he's still second and giving, like not letting race size getting away. But
I mean, yeah, we'll take a look here at Greg Seitz because the lead is now up to 1.9 seconds over Everett Paddock. I mean, this drive has just been absolutely incredible all season long from Greg Seitz. Here's a look at Everett Paddock following him through on the screen, but losing time in a hurry here. Slide back, pick up this battle for the 3rd position between Chris Janke and Mike Holler.
some very sweet-looking cars.
The old Players throwback colors there on Chris Janke's automobile. Those cars were always spectacular looking. Seeing trouble on the racetrack for William Majet. He has had another issue and had to take the tow back into the pit area.
Yeah, that is race over for him because he disconnected.
Yeah, actually, even may possibly be a disqualification for hitting the incident limit. Seeing that Mike Coates completed 1 full lap, William Majet is actually being scored behind him after completing 2 full laps. So
wow.
It does go to show you guys that this is not an easy racetrack to get around. There are a ton of opportunities to make the slightest bit of contact with the wall. Do that enough times, your race is going to be over pretty quickly.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we're again mentioning those Ezra races because that's where the most experience. Like James, at Long Beach, like you were doing like your best lap were like 1.7s, 1.8s, right?
Yeah.
And like we were running 1.10s, 1.11s during the race because we had to take it so easy.
Seeing trouble on the racetrack here for John Dinkle. Get you a Hot Shoe Race for instant replay. See what happened here.
Ooh!
All over Goodson on corner entry, slides to a stop. See, that's how you get your sponsors some TV time. Slide the car around a little bit, do absolutely no damage, and stop just perfectly squared up in front of the camera.
I'm bored. Time to drift! Your beat intensifies. And I can't sing it, or else we'll get striked by copyright.
This nice little battle going on here between Chris Janke and Mike Holler really goes to show that you can race tightly on these street circuits. You just have to set up the spot to pass. That's the most important thing here.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing Mike can do is put pressure on... Ooh! It almost looked like he bumped him.
You mean a bump and run? on a track that's not gateway in these cars? Interesting. That's a bold strategy.
Bold move.
Oh, that was contact into the outside retaining wall for Mike Holler. Definitely heard the contact there.
Yeah.
Man, you can even see the cars catching a little bit of air time.
I know, watching them go over the bumps and seeing the suspension simulate it, I just love how much detail iRacing put into that, because that's always been my favorite thing about watching courses, is watching the suspension flex.
Go on board here, and you'll see how much the suspension really travels on these cars. On board here with Mike Holler. So down to 15 laps remaining here, and Greg Seitz out to a monstrous 3 1/3 second lead over Everett Paddock. They're in different zip codes. It's a whole nother area code back here to Chris Janke and Mike Hollers. Holler going to look down to the inside, thought about diving down to the inside.
I think it was more to intimidate Chris down this corner. Like, this is some kind of mind games. You can go like just, oh hey, I'm going on the inside. Oh well, I lied. Oh, you messed up your corner. Well, too bad for you.
It is a little bit of a mind game you have to play here on the street courses.
You have to. There's no place to overtake.
And this is an important race for Holler too, because his paint scheme is the Windy City initiative trying to help battle climate change in Chicago. And you can see if you get a little closer on the nose, it's the flag for the city of Chicago. So this is a big race for him. You know he wants to put on a good show.
And he's putting on a good show. Like, we're still focused on that little battle, so that's pretty good for him.
That is a fantastic looking paint job here Mike Holler is running this week, and keeping the battle tight here with Chris Janke. This isn't something you see all the time on the street courses, and you almost wonder if Janke isn't a little bit slower on outright pace, but Holler just doesn't have any place to get around him. I would imagine that becomes very frustrating as a driver when you're kind of stuck in this mode of, I know I'm faster than this guy ahead of me, but you just can't do anything to get around him.
This was me behind Brian Vols earlier in Ezra at New Hampshire. Like, I spent like 5 or 6 laps trying to prepare a move on him, and like I had to wait so long, and because of that, I actually lost also in your position, James. And because of that, you overtook me to championship, you beep.
Yeah, I was just about to say that we could write a whole book on that after her earlier tonight. I feel like at this rate, Michael's probably taking a bit of a break, trying to cool down the tires and try to wait to really push it at the end. Just kind of survive and advance at this point.
Taking a look at the sector times, the cars are pretty darn even here. Last time by, Chris Janke was actually about 1/10 of a second faster then Mike Holler in overall lap pace. But it's interesting to see how the sector times kind of cycle their way through, because Holler is definitely at this point slower than Janke in the first sector of the race course, but making up a little bit of ground through sectors 2 and 3.
Yeah, which kind of leads me to believe that Janke is probably running a little bit of a more trimmed out setup, because Sector 1 there's a lot more straightaways and fast corners, and Sector 2 and 3 that's when you get to the really tight stuff and the nitty gritty of it.
Catching lap traffic here is going to prove critical for these cars, and that really becomes the opportunity to overtake if you're Mike Holler.
Taken to real life, the Hungarian Grand Prix for F1, Vettel almost overtaking Ocon when they were coming to lap Giovinazzi. Oh, and this is such a bad spot to cut someone.
There you see the lap traffic. Oh, almost! Oh, that was tight.
He still has the wheel inside. He still has the wheel inside. He will try it.
Mike Holler's got the spot down to the inside. They're going to swing wide, come screaming down the straightaway.
What?
Oh, they're making contact, banging wheels.
Wow! Oh, that was a hip check. Ooh, that was...
Little bit of right side romance there from Chris Janke on Mike Holler, but he's able to keep the number 4 behind him.
Banging wheels on a straight course. I didn't think that was on the menu today, Chris.
I think that was one of the interesting things that I was looking forward to about this race was the track is so new to the iRacing platform. Nobody has thousands of laps on this racetrack yet, at least anyway. And what you're really talking about, possibly some new names coming towards the front, and how tightly could you actually race these cars here? Once again, seeing some trouble on the racetrack for John Dinkle. Let's see what happened to the number 6 machine here.
Ooh.
Kind of the same thing. Once again, square the sponsors up for the camera. Well done, Mr. Dinkle. Nice job there, bud. No harm, no foul. He doesn't lose any positions.
This gives me a strong impression of deja vu.
Let's give you the quick rundown through the field here. Greg Seitz is your race leader by almost 4 seconds over Everett Paddock.
Wow.
Seitz has led every lap from the drop of the green flag. Qualified on pole about 1/4 of a second faster than what Everett Paddock was. Paddock coming through in the 2nd position. He had about 2.5 seconds on Chris Janke and Mike Holler, who have been locked in that fantastic battle for 3rd. Final podium spot here this evening. Pick that fight up as they make their way back towards the front end of the race course.
Now for Mike, there may be another opportunity coming through, like we're seeing right now, the number 10 of Lyle Christensen. He may try again his little dive bomb he did on Chris when he'll be overtaking Christensen.
I'll tell you what, I think Zach Evans may have nailed it on the comment here. Not sure why this just popped into my head, but this track reminds me a ton of the now long gone Columbus Street Circuit that IMSA raced in the 1980s. Yes, that one is absolutely perfect to describe this place.
No, he's looking around the outside.
No,
Holler around the outside.
Wow.
Oh, they make contact coming down the straightaway. You saw the front end of the 3 get off the ground.
Oh my goodness me! At this spot, round the outside, that takes some guts.
That takes more than guts. That's a different type of organ he has for that move.
Yeah, nut up and ball out, that's for sure. But Mike Holler now opening up the gap. It's 1.4 seconds already over Chris Janke.
Yeah, I'm seeing some wing damage on Junkie now with that contact. I think Holler was probably not thrilled with that hip check Janke gave when they were side by side coming down the front straightaway, so he made sure to give him a little love tap back. And I don't blame him.
Love the discussion going on in the comments here, talking about old long-gone street courses here. The Columbus racetrack that IMSA raced was not overly popular with anybody. However, they managed to bring one up that if you're not a diehard of the NASCAR fandom, the NASCAR Featherlight Southwest Series twice ran a street race in downtown Los Angeles, California, of all places. Not necessarily the most well-attended or well-put-together of events. Oh, big tail slide there for Chris Janke. How about Greg Seitz? Let's check in with your race leader here. 16 laps in the scorebooks, and Greg Seitz goes fastest lap of the race. Purple Sector 1, 23.36 seconds. Purple Sector 2, 23.79. Purple Sector 3, 32.03 seconds. New fastest lap time of 1 minute 19.2 seconds. Best lap time for Everett Paddock was also his last lap at a 1:19.8. So Greg Seitz is finding 0.6 of a second everywhere around this race course. And he does it again, going fastest overall through Sector 1.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the only word I can come up with is wow. Greg Seitz is just doing unreal things around this racetrack. Seitz was slower that time by almost 0.3 of a second and gained 0.4 on Everett Paddock. Just unreal what Seitz is doing here at the front of the field. There's a look at Everett Paddock, who runs Indy second position. Down to 7 cars remaining on the race course, and nobody is close to one another at this point. Mike Holler has opened up the gap to 5.4 seconds over Chris Janke. It goes to show you how much quicker Holler's car really was. But the nature of street racing is you're kind of stuck until you get the opportunity to pass. John Dinkle runs in the 5th position. He is your hard charger of the race, up 5 spots from where he qualified this evening, with a little extra flair thrown into it. Good run so far for Dinkle in the number 6 machine. Andy Corsa runs in the 6th position. Oh, right as we put the camera on him, he takes the left front corner off the race car.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
Or not.
It's
back. Well, he hit the wall hard. We saw that.
Netcode is a wondrous thing, is it not?
this kind of magic. Oh, wait.
DMCA'd.
Dang it!
Yeah, really. Lyle Christensen is the next to last car running on the racetrack now. Is Shane Holstein going to get back out on the racetrack? Christensen running in the 7th position, a couple of laps down here to your race leader. Shane Holstein in the number 11, Rowdy Energy Machine. He's back on the racetrack. Running 6, almost 7 laps in arrears of your race leaders. Down to 5 laps to go here for Greg Seitz.
I'm looking for my box. I can't see anything.
Yes, Seb's big box of superlatives is now empty.
It has been empty since Okayama.
Yeah, for several weeks now. Andy Corsa has made it back to the pit area. There you see Corsa's machine stopped at his pit box, and that will be an extensive repair to get that machine back out onto the race course. Looking ahead, we'll sort of see a course like this coming up in the next couple of weeks. This is round number 8. There will be 4 to go here in 2021 Season 3 at the conclusion of this race. Next week, we head to Monza to run the Grand Prix circuit. You go from tight, slow-ish street circuit to crazy fast road course over in Italy. That one's going to be a ton of fun. Week after that, yes, the Temple of Speed. Week after that, we head to the circuit Gilles Villeneuve up on the, was it the Ile Notre Dame in Montreal?
Ile Notre Dame, yes.
Yeah. Then we go to Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway for the next to last round of the season. And then the Nürburgring Nordschleife is the 12th and final round of the season. We may have to bring Wes Shire back in for that one, our resident Nürburgring expert.
I mean, at this point, I'll be probably sleeping because I'll have to go to college. So. I'll miss you guys.
We'll miss you too, my friend.
Take a look here at Everett Paddock. He's cut the gap down a little bit. It's now 7.4 seconds and shrinking.
I mean,
trouble on the racetrack again for Andy Corsa. Got the repairs completed. Little soft spin. Grab reverse, grab first, and away you go.
Trouble for Chris Janke. Like, he's now down to 5th place, and he is going really slowly. Like, I think he just got lapped by Mike Holler.
Yeah, looks like Chris Janke had to come into the pits here. Let's take a look. Get you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. Here's the pass that Mike Holler made on the outside. And that was the contact that got the front of the car up in the air. Now let's take a look and see what was going on here with Chris Janke's machine. Yeah, that's a little bit of an oddball. He just pulled that car in. 1 minute 15 on the time in the pit lane. 40.35 seconds of total pit stop time. So obviously a pretty significant repair for Chris Janke.
Now looking back on that little contact, like, it was actually netcode. Like, they weren't even close to each other.
Yeah, you almost wonder if that's not an issue that the street course and how everything has to get rendered here. Pretty big deal there, but white flag is in the air. 1 lap to go for Greg Seitz. The Rust Racing number 1 has once again been utterly spectacular here in Chicago. The lead at 7.4 seconds. over Everett Paddock. Mike Holler runs third. An additional, my goodness, how about 20 seconds behind Everett Paddock is Mike Holler. 28 in total behind the race leader.
It's the first time watching the Indy Pro 2000 on iRacing. This is not the usual kind of racing we have, okay? I mean, yeah, sure, great size rolls on everyone, but not like this.
Yeah, they're the Indy Pro 2000 races have been, on the road courses, have been all Greg sites, and quite frankly, the ovals for that matter this season. But we usually have a lot more racing back in the pack. Now, this is a significantly lighter field. We've been upwards of 40 cars throughout most of the season here as Greg Seitz comes across the start-finish line to claim the victory here in Chicago.
Imagine if he wrecked it when he was doing his weaving.
Oh my god.
It never happens when I do this. Everett Paddock runs in the second position. Mike Holler finishing in third. Famous last words of James Watt's spin.
It's a good thing you can't see my face right now.
Yeah, Zach Evans checking in saying, boy, they didn't pull any punches with the closing rounds of this schedule. They really didn't. That's the fun part of this is even if you have a runaway at the front, you're almost guaranteed to see some great midfield racing coming up here over the next few weeks. Just waiting for the last couple of cars to come across the start-finish line, including Mike Holler, who runs in the third position.
Interesting conversation that was between Mike and Chris and in their cooldown lap. So I guess no hard feelings between the two.
Get your results here as everybody has now completed the full race distance. Greg Seitz is your winner by almost 8 seconds over Everett Paddock. Mike Holler comes home third, 30 seconds in arrears of your race winner. John Dinkle, 1 minute behind in the fourth position. Chris Janke and, of course, Lyle Christensen all finishing 1 lap in arrears. Shane Holstein, William Majette, Noah Carmichael, and Mike Coates will round out your field here for tonight's Indy Pro 2000 Championship Official Series race. We'll get the replays queued up here and get ready to talk to your podium finishers. And we will kick things off here with Mike Holler. And I tell you what, Mike, that was a hell of a battle you had out there with Chris Janke over the first 2/3, I guess, of that race.
Oh man, it was so fun. He was just matching my pace. I was matching him. I had him on braking in some corners, but you need so much more of an advantage here. And I saw the lap car coming up, and that was the chance, and I had to.
We described the pass as nut up and ball out. What were you thinking going to the outside, trying to make that pass when there wasn't going to be much more than a car width or so of room on the exit of that corner?
Yeah, I was thinking that if I could be nose ahead on the outside, it's the entry there. It always feels tighter to me. So the pinch there would make me feel uncomfortable on the inside. So I chose that route rather than be pinched myself. Of course, we were both pinched. I mean, it's not like there's room here, but that had my heart racing. Yeah.
Well, it was a fantastic race for you. Nice podium finish here tonight, bud. Who do you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank Chicago for putting on this event. You probably saw my livery. I think we talked about it before, but yeah, I'm just a just down the street from it. So really glad to be here at a home race and on a podium in a home race. Also like to thank my fiance again, and like to thank Citizens Climate Lobby for all the work they do.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. We appreciate the time, bud, and let's pick up our runner-up here tonight, Everett Paddock. And I tell you what, Everett, it almost looked a little bit boring here for you and Greg. Not much in the way of lap traffic, and not bad for a Thursday evening cruise through the streets of Chicago.
You know, that's it may have looked easy, but this place is a white knuckle racetrack, man. You really need to you really need to keep your concentration. You know, even passing the couple of guys that we did during the race, I have to admit that threw off my rhythm.
Yeah, it seems like it's one of those places that is very rhythm dependent, and it's really the perfect word that you brought up there, because it seemed like in watching the cars that you really kind of had to muscle them around a little bit, play the bumps, keep yourself off the walls, and really kind of let the car go where it wanted to go.
That's a good description, Chris. I mean, you can't overdrive it. You can't really just grab it by the scruff of the neck too much. You kind of have to kind of point it. And it's funny when I was mentioning I lost the rhythm, I think I lost a little bit of nerve too there as well. It took me like 2 or 3 laps to kind of remember, kind of cool down, know how it feels, and get back into it. It's an interesting racetrack. It's a shame not more people are enjoying it.
Well, you put on a heck of a show on it tonight. Congratulations on the podium. Who do you want to thank?
You know, I want to thank the community managers. They do a great job again. And you know, the past couple of weeks I've had my wife watch the YouTube broadcast, and she really got irritated that I didn't thank her. But she is very supportive of my iRacing career, so I appreciate it. So
yes.
Thanks to her.
Yes, don't get your wife cranky at you. I am going away with my wife tomorrow, so we'll be getting off the air here shortly. But congratulations, Everett, and looking forward to talking to you again in the next couple of weeks here. Let's bring in the man of the hour, the guy who's absolutely decimated this series all season long, Greg Seitz. And I'll tell you what, Greg, we just talked to Everett about how you couldn't really muscle this car around the racetrack. You had to – Everett described it as point it and get it set and just let it roll.
Yeah, you have to be super smooth. I mean, obviously, there's so many turns where if you just make a slight mistake, you can end your race. I mean, so it's really hard and somewhat scary to be pushing, as hard as I was the whole race, because I knew, I was always one little mistake away from, like, ending everything. But, the kind of guy I got to push.
And you know what? We're going to go from one extreme to the other, and we head to Monza next week, where it's little bit more, with the exception of the chicanes, obviously, it is more open, more flowing, and really it's a speed track where you can be as aggressive as you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, obviously draft is going to play a huge factor there. So, yeah, I think it's going to be really hard for anybody to really get away from anyone else there, as long as, people don't make mistakes behind you. So it's going to, I think, make for some really much tighter racing and lots of probably interesting things into the chicanes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations on the win here again tonight, Greg. Who do you want to thank?
Once again, just thank you guys for the broadcast. Thank my team, Rust Racing, and my competitors out there tonight. It was a little bit sparse tonight, but, it's great to see some of the guys show up.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Greg. We appreciate it. And I'll tell you what here, guys, it was more fun than I was expecting. I'll say it that way as we go back to the live look. And, I was expecting a single file parade of cars spread out 4 seconds apart like we had at the finish. The reality is we got about 18 laps of holy crap, how close are these guys going to run with that battle between Mike Collar and Chris Janke.
Man, that battle was unbelievably epic. Oh my god, I have to watch that whole battle again. It had my jaw on the floor the whole time.
And
some of the moves made, that was impressive.
I said, yeah, next week we go to Monza, and like Greg mentioned, this is going to be draft racing, almost a pack race on a road course. You've turned a ton of laps there in a variety of cars on the iRacing platform. What are we looking forward to next week?
Drafting, some little spaghettis on the straights, and then a little pizza. Oh wait, I'm getting called and say I'm too cliche. Oh well, I'm sorry guys. Yeah, some heartbreaking, some weaving on the straights, and I think fun. Like I think we'll have a Red Bull Ring Part 2 next week.
Yeah, we are looking forward to it for sure. But with that, we're going to wrap up our coverage here tonight from the streets of Chicago. Absolutely spectacular race we got to see here tonight, and excellence served once again by Greg Seitz. But looking forward to coming back next week. We're back on the air this Sunday night with a high slide Cup Series playoffs. Follow it up Monday night with the Silver Crowns. Tuesday night, the Sprint Cars. Wednesday night, the High Side Hustle. We'll be back, Burt Wojcik and Adam Rubright, talking everything going on in the world of dirt track and pavement racing. But until Sunday night when we see you again, no Linda Speedway this week on Friday night. They are off for the weekend. USAC Midgets are in town. That one has been an absolutely fantastic week of racing so far. But with that, we're going to wrap up the coverage here for Sebastian Kinder and James Watson. My name is Chris Graham. It's been a pleasure to have you with us here this evening. We will talk to you soon. Have a great night, everybody.